My name is Aiden Crusoe. Today, I'm going to talk about how media bias shows up on social media platforms such as the major well-known ones, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube Shorts, how it affects the way people understand major events. To do this, I've connected with all sides of media bias charts to real-world content. Media bias is when a news outlet presents information in ways that favor a certain political or ideological perspective. This can shape on how the public understands major events. People often trust the news they already agree with, or simply because they're familiar with it. For example, when reading about something like Charlie Kirk's death, a well-known, not really political figure, but political speaker, a person might see the story framed differently depending on the source. All sides media bias charts groups outlets into five categories: left, leaning left, center, leaning right, and right. Outlets on the left might focus on more social justice or criticize conservative figures, while outlets on the right might highlight threats to traditional values, conservative values, or questioning mainstream narratives. Center sources generally try to stay neutral or impartial and report facts without adding strong opinions. By looking at the different perspectives, we can see how bias influences storytelling and public perception. Rhetorical analysis. When looking at Charlie Kirk's death across different outlets, the way each outlet presents the news changes based on its bias. For example, CNN, the left, emphasizes the impact on political discourse and include expert opinions on its influence using emotional language like pathos, which we can all be familiar with, to highlight the shock felt by supporters. The New York Times, then, being left, focuses on factual reporting while framing the events with ongoing political debates, using ethos to citing various sources. Centers present the story with minimal commentary, sticking to facts and timelines, which relied on logos to build credibility. Fox News, right, highlight the accomplishments, the contributions to conservative movements, often using positive depictions and tone to show respect. The Daily Wire, being right, framed his death as a loss for conservative movements, using strong adjectives and emotional storytelling to appeal to their audience values. Across these examples, we can see how dictation, tone, framing, and appeal to ethos, pathos, and logos shape these same events as interpreted. Journalism. We often see journalists on social media speaking with people on specific opinions, whether that be political or non-political, it varies. But as we've seen in today's society, that has shifted very fast and very hard. Or to some people, very little fast, very hard. But at the same time, we've seen more political street talking or political street journalism. Independent creators on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, as you well know, major social media outlets, also covered Charlie Kirk's death, but in ways that are different from traditional outlets. For example, a TikTok creator known for political commentary uses short clips with text overlays and music to emphasize his influence and public reactions, often focusing on pathos to connect emotionally. YouTube vlogger provides longer videos or essays breaking down his life, including memes, community reactions, which made the content more relatable and formal. Another Instagram accounts posted stories with polls and questions to engage followers, encouraging interactions rather than just reporting facts. Compared to mainstream media, street journalists often use a more casual tone, includes personal opinions, create content designed to go viral and spark discussions, which changes the way people experience the story. Public responses. Different groups of people respond to Charlie Kirk's death in diverse ways, reflecting their demographics, political views, and cultural background. Some negative, some positive, some neutral respond to his death. For example, conservatives on Twitter shared tributes and personal stories about his work and how his work inspired them, using positive dictations, hashtags to spread messages of respect. While the liberal commentators posted critical reflections on his political influence, framing his death within the ongoing debates about conservative media, mostly in negative light. Independent TikTok users often post reactions to the mix of humor, mourning, appealing to the younger audience who engage with the news casually, using things like dark humor, which is something that a lot of younger generations are more familiar with. Members of multicultural communities discuss the impact of his work on politics and broader society's context, sometimes questioning how media narratives influences public understanding. Students and young adults on Reddit had mixed reactions, with debates between supporting and critiquing his work, showing on online communities, shaped conversations differently than traditional media. These examples show that age, political affiliation, cultural influence, how people respond to the news, and social media gives everyone a platform to share their perspective. So, in conclusion, media bias is everywhere. It affects both traditional and social media. Using the well, all sides media bias charts, we can better understand different outlets and how they frame stories like Charlie Kirk's death, either pushing him to see him as a positive person with an ongoing positive life, speaking positive views, though most people have very critical and critiquing ways of seeing that in the ways of others view it, either that being negative or impartial. Social media creators add other layers to this, often making them more engaging but sometimes more biased than people believe. Finally, public response shows that our background influences how we interpret events. The key takeaway is that we need to think critically, compare sources, and be aware of biases so that we can all form well rounded opinions. Thank you.